A lot has been said and exposed about the controversy between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, but some wild theories suggest there's something much deeper going on behind the scenes. What started as a promising romantic film took a shocking turn, one that ended up teaching a valuable lesson about domestic violence, not just in the story, but seemingly in the real lives of those involved. The film, which began with intense on-screen chemistry, ultimately fell apart in production, and many now believe there are still untold secrets lurking beneath the surface. People have been questioning when exactly Blake took control of the production, how the dynamic between her and Justin shifted, and why Justin seemed to overlook so many red flags. This theory aims to dig into those questions, with a few facts to back it up. The most eye-opening theory to emerge? That Blake may have developed real feelings for Justin while on set. And though she attempted to show signs of it subtly, things didn't go her way. The theory's breakdown is as shocking as it is revealing. Looking at Blake's past work, she's never gone as far in a private scene as she did with Justin in It Ends With Us. That alone raised eyebrows. But things got even more bizarre when Blake filed a complaint stating that there was no intimacy coordinator on set. Justin responded by releasing messages that showed Blake had no interest in meeting with the intimacy coordinator, and, in some cases, actually took on the role herself. That meant Blake had full control over how intimate the scenes got, especially with Justin. So to later claim there was no intimacy coordinator available looked more like a calculated move to shift the narrative once things got out of hand. As more signs surface and the pieces start fitting together, this theory might be closer to the truth than anyone originally thought.
You can't just put me in any clothes and give me any words and have me step in and transform. And I used to be very insecure about that. I used to feel like an imposter because I would watch actors who were just shapeshifters. They could do it in any circumstance.
On set, Blake also made it clear that she's not the type of actor who shapeshifts or gets fully consumed by a character. In fact, she openly stated that she brings herself into every role. Many have criticized her in the past for just playing herself in every movie, and with that statement, she seemed to confirm exactly that.
For me, the way I always get into a character is through their wardrobe. When I literally inhabit them, I feel so much more. Clothes are very expressive to me. I feel like a different person given whatever I'm wearing.
Blake revealed through her wardrobe choices and on-set behavior that she sees herself as a different kind of actor, one who doesn't fully transform, but instead brings her true self into each role. This suggests that during her time on set with Justin, she was simply being herself. But in doing so, things may have gotten a little too real, in a way that ultimately didn't work in her favor. When asked how she gets into character, Blake responded, "I mean, for me," hinting that her process is less about becoming someone else and more about channeling her own identity into the role. It actually gets kind of hilarious when you realize that some of the wardrobe pieces Blake wore on set came straight from her own closet. That means she wasn't just playing the character. She was a character, or at least a version of herself. She essentially modeled the role after her own personality. Meanwhile, for Justin, getting into character was a completely different process, one rooted in method, preparation, and emotional depth. Their contrasting approaches may have clashed more than anyone expected.
Journal, as if I was Ryle, and the things that Ryle experienced in his life, and I had to create, as an example, the trauma that happened to him. I had to recreate that for myself.
Blake once claimed that playing a character like the one she portrayed in It Ends With Us transports her to a different realm, one where she actually feels the fireworks. She praised Colleen Hoover for writing such emotionally rich characters, explaining that it helped her deeply connect with Lily's feelings for Atlas, and especially for Ryle, a character driven by intense attraction and complex emotional layers. Blake described how she could feel all of those conscious and unconscious emotions overlapping at once. She also admitted that she can't shapeshift into a role like some actors do. Instead, she brings her authentic self into every character she plays. And when she openly stated how much she loves romance, it added another layer to the speculation, hinting that she might be someone who falls in love easily, even on set. Considering she's married, hadn't taken on a steamy or emotionally intense role in years, and signed up for a deeply intimate part just months after giving birth, it was arguably a recipe for emotional chaos. What made things even more volatile was that Justin was reportedly method acting throughout the shoot, fully stepping into the role of Ryle. So, Whatever romantic tension existed between Lily and Ryle in the story likely spilled over into real life as well. While this might all sound like theory, some details hint at deeper truths. An old comment Blake made on one of Justin's workout posts has recently resurfaced, and it's fueling even more speculation that she may have developed real feelings for him. The post, made about 100 days before filming started, shows just how early the chemistry might have sparked. The resurfaced comment from Blake came just weeks after they began working together on set in 2023, around the same time Blake had given birth. Justin had posted a workout video, and Blake responded with, "Amazing. Now try it pregnant," to which Justin playfully replied, "You win." While seemingly harmless, this minor exchange has since been interpreted in many ways. Some suggested Blake has a tendency to insert herself into situations competitively, but others argue it was a light-hearted, flirty moment, a subtle way of showing interest by drawing attention to herself in a moment that wasn't about her. Adding to the speculation, Blake may have tried to shift focus away from this narrative when she later accused Justin of suggesting she wear more appealing outfits for her role. But behind the scenes, it was actually Blake who had full control of her wardrobe, something she revealed herself in interviews. She had overridden the costume designer suggestions and chose the looks herself. In fact, Justin only commented on her wardrobe after some of the outfits leaked online and were criticized as unflattering. Even then, chats revealed it was Blake who proposed dressing her character in more seductive clothing to enhance the film's romantic appeal. For a movie filled with intense romantic moments and steamy kisses, it became even more confusing when Blake accused Justin of kissing her longer than necessary. Yet behind the scenes, it appeared that Blake was often the one directing the intimacy, at times even showing Justin how to pull her in during scenes. Despite her later claims, evidence from set suggests Blake may have been more in control of those intimate moments than she let on. Blake also accused Justin of adding more steamy scenes to the script than they had originally agreed upon. However, that claim didn't hold up. In reality, Justin had suggested that Blake rewrite certain scenes, with the help of the intimacy coordinator, to ensure everything was handled professionally. Blake reportedly didn't like that idea. Instead, she ended up rewriting the scenes with Justin directly, and even had her husband revise one of the more sensitive scenes as well. Another claim in her complaint was that Justin came into her trailer while she was topless and breastfeeding. While that sounds alarming on its own, the receipts from their private messages paint a completely different picture. There's no evidence that Justin barged in uninvited or even knew she was breastfeeding at that moment. In fact, it was Blake who asked Justin to come by so they could go over lines together, despite her being in the middle of pumping. Justin didn't immediately jump to it either. He responded by saying he was eating and would head over afterward. Given how clear and straightforward their exchange was, it's surprising that Blake would later frame it so differently. Some theorize this mischaracterization may have been a calculated effort, perhaps stemming from hurt feelings after Justin failed to reciprocate any off-screen chemistry. And here's where the theory gets even wilder. Blake has a history of falling for her romantic co-stars. It all started with Gossip Girl, where she dated Penn Badgley, her love interest on the show. The pattern seems to point toward a recurring blur between fiction and reality when it comes to Blake and romance on set. Loving, Blake accepted the role in a romantic film opposite a very attractive love interest. It's been speculated that she wanted to test whether the spark was still there, to poke the bear a little and see if she still had that magnetic pull. But when Justin didn't respond the way she expected, the whole dynamic shifted. Feeling rejected and embarrassed, Blake appeared to pivot, suggesting that she never meant anything by it, and instead flipping the narrative to imply it was Justin who crossed boundaries. The theory digs even deeper, hinting that Blake may have felt especially hurt when Justin casually asked about her weight. Rather than seeing it as curiosity or concern for the physical demands of filming, she seemed to take it as a sign that Justin simply wasn't interested in her beyond a professional level. Instead of directly addressing the reason behind Justin's question, things escalated, and this allegedly didn't sit well with Blake's husband. According to some reports, he showed up on set, confronted Justin, and even mocked him in front of others, possibly as a way to reassert control and stand up for Blake. Thanks for watching.